New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.
What's going on? This is Jay Ellis from the Knick Time Show. Here to give you that Knicks talk just in the nick of time. And it's time to talk about some Knicks training camp news. We also want to talk about Julius Randle. We're going to talk about Mitch Robinson. We're going to talk about Mike Brown. We're going to talk about Deuce McBride. And we're going to talk about it all. We're also going to talk about our guy, Phil Porto, who made an interesting video talking about his vision for the Knicks starting five. But before we get into it, let me introduce you to my peoples on the panel. First and foremost, I'm going to introduce you to the man, the myth, the legend, the guy with the stats and the facts.
Ryan G's in the building. Knicks number one in the East, season uploading.
Number one in the East, season is uploading. And of course, you already know we have our ex-D1 baller here, our lady, Mad Knicks fan, Ebony. What's going on, Ebony?
How y'all doing? I'm excited. I can't wait. Mike Brown has been talking my language. He's been talking Ebonese, I guess, because he has been saying a lot of things I like to hear. I can't wait to talk to y'all guys about it.
Yeah, the best part of the new season is the optimism and the talking, because you get all the optimism and the talking. You can always say the right things at the beginning. Curious to see if that's what follows through. But I agree with you, Ebony. I do like what he's saying to start the season. And of course, you already know, man, it is our guy, Mr. NBA Economy himself. Also, man, the best mod in the game who doubles as a panelist. My man, Fritz Alessandro. What's going on, Fritz?
Hey, we talk about practice, but we also talk about the roadmap for the season. Hey, let's get it started.
Yo, let's get it started, man. I'm ready to get it. I'm ready to get to it. I'm not even sure. We're trying some other things out. Are we streaming on Twitter? I don't know. Hopefully we are. We're also streaming on YouTube as well. So if you are streaming on Twitter, hey, what's up? This is Knick Time Show. We talk Knicks. We usually talk Knicks after every game. Also, sit back and relax, enjoy this show. Also, if you can come to YouTube and cut cake with us as well, we would like that. We like the YouTube followers. Shout out to people on YouTube. Double D, Fritz Alessandro on YouTube, holding down the mod duties, Knicks Nation TV, Nostalgia Nick, and everybody else is rocking with us on YouTube, including you, Double D. All right, cool. So let's get to it. Shout out to my man, Phil Porto, one of the newest additions to the Knick Time Show. He joined us last year and brought his show with us, Knicks Nightcap. Shout out to Phil, who's brought a lot to this channel. And he's also brought debates. Now, the thing that I love about this cast and this panel is we're able to debate with being respectful. We talk basketball, and we only talk basketball. But the thing is, too, even if we are wrong, or even if I'm right, and I don't agree with somebody, sometimes they'll say one or two things that makes me at least pause and think, you know what? That's a good point. I haven't thought of it from that perspective. And Phil often does that. And he came with a little bit of a hot take yesterday about his preferred starting five on the Knicks. So let's get to that real quick. And actually going to play a video that is on the Knick of Time YouTube channel, hosted by our guy, Phil Porto. So hold on, let's get to it.
So I've been hearing a lot of people share who they think their starting five should be and why. And some of them I truly think they have great points. Some of them I'm not fully on board, but I thought I would share mine because I think it's a little bit different. For me, I truly think we should explore the option of starting Jordan Clarkson at the 2. And here's my reasoning. First, the biggest issue I had with our offense last year is the lack of diversity in it, the lack of people that can actually create a bucket for themselves. And adding Mitch to that starting lineup does not change that.
Ebony, he talking to you, Ebony. He talking to you. He's talking to you, Emily. I gotta instigate a little bit. It's all love.
I that same energy.
ready,
I need that same.
Oh, Fritz, you on board?
Oh, you know what? I want that same energy for Phil that I got.
Yeah, it's coming. I'm gonna let him finish saying his piece though, Fritz.
All right, I'm gonna continue.
That is not adding anyone who can actually create a bucket for themselves. When it comes to our offense, one thing I did not like was how many dribbles Jalen Brunson had to take. And this isn't just my thought. You listen to Carmelo Anthony and Shumpert on their podcast, and they're talking about why Jalen Brunson dribbling the ball to the point that there's no air is a disservice to the New York Knicks, and how we really need to pair him with someone who's a bucket getter. And so when I think of Jordan Clarkson, I look at the fact that he demands people to play him defensively. Yes, sometimes his shot can be erratic, but he even said that in his media day, that he's got to be a little wiser with his shots. So I think that's a level of discernment already without actually playing the game with the Knicks. That is something that is important. So
I already have a counterpoint to that, but I'm gonna just keep playing it. I'm just I have a counterpoint. I have a couple of counterpoints, but I just want to point that out real quick. Go ahead, my guy, Phil. Go ahead, Phil.
Jordan Clarkson is a true bucket getter. At any point in time, he can create a bucket. Out of everybody on our team, he is the one that I would say is a baller that can play street, NBA, anywhere, and be able to create his own. And this creates frustration for defenses because they can't really double team Jalen Brunson, because if they get it back to Jordan Clarkson, he can create that bucket. And it also allows the guys like Mikal Bridges, who are great shooters, but not necessarily great when it comes to creating their own bucket and don't want to draw physical contact. It allows them to just get to their spots. And as soon as someone tries to double team Clarkson or Brunson, one of those guys are going to be open, whether it's OG, Cat, or Mikal. So I think getting the ball into the hands of another shooter like him is important. Yes, it might struggle with the defense a little bit, but I also have thoughts on that. Jordan Clarkson has a longer wingspan than most. So him at the 2 is not necessarily a bad thing with that wingspan. Also, it allows Mikal and OG, who are our best defenders, to help down low where Cat is, who is kind of a liability a lot of times defensively. So when OG came out last year to be able to help defensively, it caused an issue for us defensively down low because it was just Cat. And we know how that winds up a lot of the times. But now it allows either Mikal or OG to be an assistant defensively and allows the other one to stay down low and be a presence in the paint alongside of Cat. Having Clark.
This is the point where I kind of just feel like Jordan Clarkson needs to be assisted too. Like it's like it allows them to be defensively, but then there's somebody else who needs assistance. I think
having Clarkson in the starting lineup leaves Mitch off the bench, which to me, I really believe is best for him right now. The reason is because lobs is a way of being able to help us offensively. And right now, that is not the kind of Jalen Brunson type basketball. But if you look, Josh Hart was amazing at transition offense and throwing lobs. So that allows him to partner with Mitchell Robinson off of the bench and use both of their skill sets as a benefit. This also allows Mikal and OG to be down low with Cat and still be an offensive and defensive rebounding presence in the starting lineup.
I might agree with the lob thing a little bit. I think that's the thing I might agree with the most that he said so far.
Also makes our defense off the bench elite. So if we have games where our bench comes in and we are behind point-wise, this allows the defense to lock them down. You'll have Yabusele, you'll have Mitch McBride, all off the bench, maybe Malcolm Brogdon. This allows that defensive presence to be elite off of the bench. So for me, I think Jordan Clarkson is a great pairing to at least consider when it comes to the starting lineup. Whether you agree or not, hit up the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know why you agree or disagree with my take. And until next time, God bless you.
Shout out to my guy, Phil, though. Shout out to my guy, Phil. Dropping that content for us. All right, team. Let's debate. All already know my thoughts on it. I'm a proponent of either starting Deuce McBride or Mitch Robinson, but Ebony, since he specifically singled out Mitch, I'm just going to toss the ball to you. I'm going to ask you, what did you think of Phil's assessment? And do you think Jordan Clarkson should start for the New York Knicks in 2025, 2026?
No, we brought him here to help with the offense below on our bench. That was the main thing. We were struggling, right? We struggled with a lot of offense when Jalen Brunson, everybody was not on the floor. Our starting five wasn't on the floor. So I hear him say about then you could go defensive and set a different tone, and I get that. But I think if you can have a mix of both offense and defense on your starting five and your bench, you should do that. We talk about Brunson dribbling in the air. He talked about Brunson dribbling in the air out the ball, which he had last year. But this is not the same offense either. Brunson is not going to be in the front of the offense the whole majority of the time. I know we're gonna talk about Cat soon. Mike Brown soon. But and Mike Brown's offense, he likes to set screens, off ball, on ball, and he needs good screeners. That's what Sabonis was. He was a good screener. And Sabonis is not the best three-point shooter either. You get what I mean? It's not only going to be lobs because the offense that he runs makes mistakes. So there's not going to be much on people having to carry the whole load in this offense with anybody. It shouldn't be that way with the movement, the pace, and the space. So that's where I get there. We a lot of times we take Thibodeau's theories and we put it on the players. That's not always happen. We don't take account what a healthy offseason can do for Mitch's offense. I think this might be the first in a very long time where he's had a healthy offseason.
Very true. Very true. And you know what? I do feel like Mitch might have a little bit more offense, but that's not my biggest gripe. I think for me is we have too many defensive lapses in that starting lineup to add another one. So like I feel like even with Jordan Clarkson on the bench, I still feel like we have more offensive talent on the floor in our starting five than defensive talent. And I think we need defensive talent to balance things out. Like when you're looking at what we was doing last season, we were, even with the problems we had on offense, we were still a top 10 in offense last season. The majority of our issues were defense, whether it be transition defense, whether it be guarding the three-point line, whether it even be guarding the rim sometimes because Mitch wasn't there. I think defense was our biggest problem. And I think you have to add, since it was our most consistent problem last season, I think we have to go defense when it goes to the starting lineup. Now, to your point, Ebony, when you're talking about the offensive versatility, yes, you know what? Yes, Phil, you're right. Jalen Brunson did dribble the air out of the ball, and it was an issue. But I think Mike Brown's system is going to help kind of alleviate that problem by adding more people to the offense. Because like I said, we still do have a lot of other offensive talent. Like I'm wondering what Mikal Bridges is going to look like this season with a little bit more touches, a little bit more freedom. I'm wondering what OG Anunoby is going to look like this season with a little bit more touches and off-ball movement. I'm wondering what it's going to look like when Cat, who is an offensive juggernaut, gets more touches with the ball in different spots on the floor. I think the system in itself might help us solve a lot of the offensive problems that we saw in the playoffs against Indiana last season. And then the defense that either Mitchell Robinson or Deuce McBride can provide is going to help us on the defensive end. So I think that's my biggest gripe with starting Jordan Clarkson. Now, I do feel like Jordan Clarkson might finish some games because there's going to be games when he's hot and you just got to finish him. He's averaged, 27 minutes as a backup guy over his career. So I do foresee that happening, but I don't see him starting for this New York Knicks teams, considering we have too many lax defenders in the starting five already. Yeah. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, well, I'll say this. Although I don't agree with Phil's starting five with putting Clarkson in there, I'll say that I do get his point of view, and I get where he's coming from. The only thing is, I would be more on board if the issue with the Knicks was offensively. If offense was the true issue, then I would have been like, okay, let's insert Clarkson in there to ignite the offense a bit and see how things go with more shot creation on the floor. But the Knicks were still a good offensive team despite their stagnation on offense at times. Like you said, the issue was mainly defensively. That's where the Knicks had their faults last season. A starting lineup with Cat and Brunson, the Knicks found themselves having to fight back in games often because a starting lineup with just Cat and Brunson with two defensive liabilities were falling behind in games. Then the Knicks had to claw their way back often in so many games last season. And it's like, I don't want the Knicks to take that path again where it's like you insert Clarkson and all of a sudden the Knicks are going to shoot out early in games, and that might result with the Knicks being behind, and then they have to bring in players to try to rein the game, try to reel the game in, and then have, the Knicks having to fight back each and every game. So for me, I see that there needs to be more of an emphasis on the defensive side of the ball, meaning bringing guys that can shore up that defense, because the one thing is, if you're good defensively, even if you're modest offensively, you're going to be in games because the opposition is not going to get buckets with you being strong defensively. So for me, that's why I lean more towards Mitch in the starting lineup. Even McBride I'm cool with because McBride is a defensive player as well. Right. And I think that will show up the defense. But I just think that with Clarkson in the starting lineup, it's just going to be too many defensive liabilities. And Mike Brown's going to have to be a defensive genius to try to hide three players on the court who are bad defensively for the Knicks to be in games early. And even with the Knicks offense being stagnant and there being a quote unquote lack of shot creation on the floor, I do think with what Mike Brown is bringing in, I do think the Knicks can kind of overcome that. For example, because although Jalen Brunson is the hub and he's the main shot creator on the floor, I think people forget that Cat's also a good passer. I think he will create offense because I've seen it with the Kings where Sabonis is used as a passer sometimes, to get other people's shots in with player movement and things of that nature. Cat can pretty much do similar things with the ball. Mm-hmm. So I do think that with player movement and more ball movement, I don't think Jalen Brunson is going to be pounding the rock off on offense anyway. So. Yeah, I mean, Phil made a lot of good points, and he was really convincing with his argument. But for me, I think showing up the defense is a bigger priority than Knicks bringing more offense on the floor to start the game.
What you got, Fritz?
I kind of shied away from a hot take last week about the fifth starter. I said Josh, but in my heart of hearts, I don't think our fifth starter's on the roster yet. I think there's an emphasis on taking the ball out of Jalen Brunson's hand, and I think Mikal could do it, but he's doing like way too much on like defense to really be unlocked on offense. And I think probably I would have a fifth starter who can focus on defense. I think the other four players, there's enough offense to go around. Like, you can legit have a defense-only player as long as they pass and they're willing to cut to the basket. I think you can legit have a fifth starter who's pretty much dedicated to defense.
Good point.
Rich, you just described Mitchell Robinson.
But at the same time...
Yeah, Fritz. You just described Mitchell Robinson, Fritz.
I described Mitchell Robinson at the same time. Mitchell Robinson, I don't think should be playing more than 20 minutes a game. And if I put him in the first quarter, what are we doing? Mitchell Robinson 5-minute stints for the game. So I rather save them toward the end of the second quarter and try to spread his minutes out. Yeah. I don't think 20 minutes can go that far.
Can I say something real
Yeah.
quick to
Mhm.
that point? With I kind of like I think I told y'all plenty of times who my favorite current player is. Steph, that's my favorite player that plays. Period. Like so. I have told Steph like I watch Golden State Warriors closely and how they use Steph. And I also realized that Steph will have a lot more points if he played fourth quarters. Those Golden State teams were so deep and dominant that they were allowed to do game management through the season without trying. So every game is not going to be the same. Every matchup is not going to be. Somebody might have Mitch's number that game. Then you do it a different way, and that's okay. So I don't think his minutes should be 25 this game every game. You get what I'm saying? It has to be listen to the game, but really listen. And Mike Brown seems to do that. So I think that's the big thing. Mitch allows people to do their job. He allows it to be easier. We have a player like that on the team. And again, I think once you see exactly how Mike Brown runs this roster and how he finagles plays, because again, he'll use his people. He'll turn the play into how working for his team and his roster. He does it all the time, and that's big. So it won't always be where you have to depend on somebody creating baskets for you. The movement in itself creates the baskets.
Facts. That's why he's preaching off ball movements and cuts and pace this season, so we can get these easier baskets for Jalen Brunson. Without the need, I mean, listen, shot creators will be nice. Someone who commands a double team can be nice, but we also have Cat who commands double teams. We also have, Mikal Bridges who's a deadly shooter from the mid range. So I mean, we have options. That's my point of view anyway. Shout out to my guy Lee Escobedo, who is in the chat. My son. What's going on, Lee Escobedo?
Great to be here, man. I was actually giving God blessings this morning for just being able to be a part of his team. I love each and every one of you. These are four of my absolute favorite people on earth. So I'm just glad that I'm able to chop it up and pod with y'all and also drop memes and roast in the chat.
Let's go.
At any time of the day or night, talk Knicks, man. It's such a blessing. I'm glad that we're able to pod today and talk about our team.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, just to catch you up, Lee, on our first topic, we actually opened up talking about Phil's starting five. He wanted to have Jordan Clarkson in his starting five. We kind of gave our thoughts, and we all kind of gave our pros and cons. But what are your thoughts, Lee?
I was there with him. Shout out my boy Phil, man. He actually drove to Dallas. He was about an hour and a half away. Took the time to drive to Dallas and hang out with me, and we broke bread. Had some lunch, enjoyed some coffee, and chopped it up for a couple hours. I was actually watching him record that video. I kind of pushed him to record it as well, as I told him that's one hell of a hot take, man. If you really think Jordan Clarkson should be the fifth starter, you should make a video about it so other people can give you feedback on it. Because I'm not with it, but it is very interesting, and I definitely understand the sentiment behind it because he's trying to mitigate depth, make things work on the back end with the bench, bring in someone who can be on ball and allow Jalen Brunson to be off ball. I understand all that, but you're basically saying we're not going to have a point of attack defender if you're going to start Jordan Clarkson. And also, I think it's too much shots between Brunson and Clarkson. There's not enough shots and not enough balls in a game for both those guys to be able to balance out their offense. Clarkson's someone you bring in to fill in Brunson sitting. You don't play them together. You stagger them. And if you need to close, you close at both of them, and one of them acts as a decoy. I'm all good for that. But starting him, I don't think is the right move because you don't really have that punch off the bench. We got him because our bench didn't have a punch. It doesn't make sense to get him and then move him into the starting unit, and he doesn't provide at least adequate defense. I'm not saying he's a bad defender, but I would say at best he cancels out as a defender. He's a good team defender, but not a great one-on-one. And we're just trying to get attacked on switches, man. People don't want to hunt him. We don't want to hunt Brunson. They don't want to hunt Cat. That's three people who compromise your defense all starting. I'm not for that. Defense wins championships, and I always prioritize defense in everything that I think about with the Knicks and decisions that I make. So to me, I'm totally off board. But it's a great conversation starter, ain't it, man?
It is, man. That's what I said. I wish he was on the show a few days ago, but that's fine. We technically had him on the show anyway. We played his video earlier, Lee. You missed it. Phil, man. So, but shout out to Phil, man, brings a lot to the channel. Great debater, also can make a hell of a point. But yeah, I think I'm not with having another offensive player who needs shots in the starting lineup. I think we need defense to balance out that starting five. And like I said, I'm good with Mitch or Deuce. I'm only slightly leaning towards Deuce because of Brogdon. Like, I feel like if Deuce doesn't start, then Brogdon doesn't get any minutes. And I feel like that kind of helps balance our team more where Brogdon is getting some minutes. But other than that, I'm still cool with Mitch starting. Mitch is the guy I wanted to start last season. So even if he does start this season, I wouldn't be upset. Because to me, that double big lineup is really reminiscent of that Timberwolves lineup. And I think would work with the Knicks as well. All right. Salute to the chat too, man. Salute to the chat. It's funny enough, I've moved things around, so my sound effects are different. So I'm still trying to get used to the new setup. But salute to the chat. I want to shout you guys out on Twitter and on YouTube. So everybody who's rocking with us on both channels, salute. Shout out to Nostalgia Nick. Shout out to Phil. Oh, Phil's in the chat. Shout out to Phil. Shout out to Phil who's in the chat. Shout out to Sherwin. Shout out to Saddle Barry. Shout out to everybody who's rocking with the KOT show. All right, now let's get to it, man. Let's get to some Knicks training camp, man. Some Knicks training camp news. There's been a lot of little bit of tidbits that's been dropping about training camp. And Mike Brown, man, he's been saying a lot of things that I'm happy with. He's been saying a lot of things that gets me excited about the direction of this team. And as you said before, Ebony, one of the things that he's emphasizing is defense. And I'm pretty excited about that. So I'm about to read for you something that Mike Brown recently said. Give me a second as I get to it. And he said this, we're laying down defensive foundations. We have rules, protect the basket, declare the ball, load the paint, find the most dangerous guy, last guy down the weak side. Last guy down goes to the weak side, things I'm big on. So he also wants to play fast, and he feels like playing fast on both sides of the ball is what separates the good teams from the bad teams. And when I read this, I was super excited because I already know that Knicks last season, when we talk about defense, you sometimes you just kind of think about the half-court defense, but really the Knicks were one of the worst transition defensive teams in the league. So I think his emphasis on defense in transition will help us a ton. Hopefully he's able to get through the guys' heads because, you know, Tibbs talked about it last season. There wasn't a lot of execution on the defensive end last season, but also the difference between Mike Brown and Tibbs is, although Tibbs talked about it, he actually didn't practice a lot last season. He didn't run a lot of practices last season for the Knicks. At the end of the year, Knicks players talked about how it was kind of weird that they didn't practice that much. Now, you know, Tibbs had a lot of criticism over his career about overworking players, and that's probably why he didn't practice. But when you're deficient in certain things and you don't know how to do them properly, you kind of need practice to kind of implement that. And Mike Brown will do that for this team. So hopefully what he's teaching and preaching follows through to the game. So I want to get your guys' thoughts on that, or your thoughts on any other Mike Brown quotes that you want to highlight. Go ahead, Lee. I'll let you start with you.
This is a double-edged sword to me. I think it's, first of all, loved hearing this. Posted my Obama crying meme when I saw this because it brought a tear to my own eye to prioritize transition defense. Because boy, were we ass at it last year. It's funny too because I think we have good transition defenders. Shamet, yet last year, was an excellent transition defender. Shout out DeLon Wright, he was too, and Cameron Payne in his own way was as well. I think we upgraded this year. I think Malcolm Brogdon can be, if healthy. It's such an asterisk. If healthy, Malcolm Brogdon also can be a great transition defender, also including Deuce in that category. Mikal and OG, I think, are obvious as well. But we have to become better defensive rebounders. I think as a team and individually, that is a top 3 issue with this current Knicks roster, and it has been since Tom Thibodeau was the head coach. We've been great at crashing the offensive boards, but porous at grabbing the defensive boards. And oddly enough, that also includes Mitchell Robinson, who's not a super strong defensive rebounder, but is an unbelievably elite offensive rebounder. Cat is really the one, and Josh Hart are the 2 great defensive rebounders, which is interesting then. It makes an argument then. You kind of understand why Josh Hart was starting last year for Tom Thibodeau, to ensure that there was not extra possessions by the opposing team, which then allowed them to get out in transition, beat us on the break, and get easy layups on the other end. So how do you mitigate that? Do you have Josh Hart back in the lineup to secure the rebounding along with Cat? Do you then put Mitchell Robinson to 5 and hope that he starts crashing the defensive boards better to limit second chance opportunities or them getting out in transition? I'm not 100% sure the best way to go about that, but to me, that's going to be key to improving our transition defense, is also becoming better defensive rebounders as a whole, as a collective, and then just getting out and knowing your routes, studying tape and seeing how teams get out into the break, and having the right lineups and the right defensive cues and communication out there, knowing where a guy is supposed to be and calling out where the ball is, where the pass is probably going to be, and playing those angles. All of that is instrumental in shutting down the transition, because we got killed so many times. If you think about all the times we've lost in the playoffs, in my mind, it's when the opposing team got out and started running. Atlanta, Miami, and now the Indiana Pacers. So to me, if we want to take this next step and win a chip, it's paramount. That's probably number 1 or number 2 in things we'd have to clean up.
I agree. It's funny. I was watching. I forgot who this kid was, yo. He had a really good breakdown. And I'm a person who was kind of so on the tips firing. I was just like, who are you going to find short notice that's going to be, better than Tibbs? But I feel like the best argument that I heard for Tibbs firing, one of the best arguments, was the lack of discipline on transition defense. And somebody pointed it out. So I forgot who was on a YouTube channel. It wasn't a Knicks fan either. It was like a basketball NBA guy. And he was talking about the lack of floor balance when it came to running in transition, and that being the reason why the Knicks always were bad in transition. And that's and he was saying like it was such an easy fix that he's kind of shocked that Tibbs didn't do it or didn't address it or didn't teach it or whatever. So I agree with you, Lee, on all your points, but that transition defense, hopefully we practice that and we get that down, because that's going to help us a lot in the upcoming season. I don't know if Ebony, Ryan want to jump in.
Yeah, I wanted to say 2 things about before I get into my take with the other things about the defensive rebounding. I just wanted to add a little context behind. A lot of times, Mitch will use his presence as a weapon, I guess, if you want to say. He'll box out 2 people and allow somebody else to clean up the boards. So those numbers, again, like I said, I always tell you, numbers can be deceiving, because he'll box out 2 people and allow somebody else to clean up the board, and then they could take off now, because we now have kind of a mismatch. That's why he helps a lot in a lot of different ways. It's ridiculous. Without needing the ball, that's the craziest part. So I just want to say that real quick. And about I think the playing fast, the preparedness, that was one of the things that I questioned all last year. We kept hearing the most prepared, but we didn't see that translate on the court, because like you mentioned, a lot of stuff that should have been easy fix, they didn't get fixed. So that's why I started questioning a lot about Tibbs last year, especially because you kept hearing them tell us that. But then what we see is the opposite. So, yeah, I agree. The transition defense, I'm loving. Again, he's speaking. Mike Brown speaking Ebonese.
Oh, he keeps speaking it too.
Yeah, definitely. He definitely talking it. Because the transition D, him telling them, make sure to always focus on finding the most dangerous guy. Like those right there, those are building good team habits from the jump, from the absolute jump. You hear him talk about accountability. So if you're not going to lock in on both ends, you might have to take a seat next to Mike Brown or some game. And I respect that. I respect that so much. I've been asking for a coach like that for so long for the Knicks. Just keep it fair about it. Like if you're not doing your job, this today is not your game. The effort is not there. You gotta have a seat. Just don't let them play you into a loss. Just watching from the stands, not adjusting or helping. So I'm excited about that. We already know that the Knicks can play slow. We know that for a fact.
Oh, yeah.
We know we know the Knicks can play slow.
Oh yeah.
So now from the get-go, he's talking about being aggressive because playing fast on defense is what? On both ends is being aggressive. That means he's trying to force people off lines. He's going to be very aggressive on that end. And I can't wait to see it. I just can't wait to see stuff of that nature. Accountability, the fact that we've been super excited about the offensive side, but he's trying to set defensive tones off the bat, defensive principles. We're going to set up good team defensive principles. So we don't all have to do it, put so much emphasis on or pressure on one person. We do it as a collective, and that feels easier, and you want to come to work all the time. You want to lock in on the end. The game seems easier. It doesn't feel so like I said, all minutes are not the same minutes. So it doesn't feel the stagnant offense. Now they're having fun. I told you, Deuce McBride sound like he clicking his heels right now.
Man, you gonna get the Deuce in a minute.
He sounds like he's clicking his heels right now. So yes, I can't wait for the team principles of defense and offense. Not allowing Cat drop to under the basket almost sometimes all game, and not making adjustments. I'm looking for that, helping Jalen Brunson maybe see some things team defensive wise he may not have seen before under Tibbs. Who knows? Playing fast. Why?
I feel you. Yo, Fritz, I don't know if you want to add to that, or do you want to just highlight something else that Mike Brown talked about?
That statement, it was like very just loaded. There's just so many things you could just take from it. Like I don't think he was talking about one thing when he was talking about that one statement. I think one thing I'm taking from it is that sometimes the plan was a little bit overthought last year on defense, and just do it simple. Just cover the most dangerous guy. If they pull up for three, if it's a 30% shooter pulling up for three, he could pull up. But but a guy racing down the side of cutting is the more important thing. I think he's simplifying things that Tibbs kind of made complicated. I think Tibbs had some fast rules. I think he's just trying to dial it back. Just think smarter. It's not rocket science. Sometimes it's not rocket science.
Here.
Sometimes it's not rocket science. Here. Ryan, do you want to talk about that, or do you want to bring something else that Mike Brown talked about to the attention of the stage?
I think everybody pretty much said the main talking points. I mean, what Mike Brown pointed out is like pretty much basic like transition defense. You stop the ball. That's always supposed to be first priority. You the guy with the ball, you're not supposed to make him get to the basket. Weak side is also a weak point in transition defense because a lot of times that's how teams get their baskets. Teams not guarding the weak side, and all of a sudden there's a guy streaking to the basket on the weak side, and you can find him or he's in the corner for three. So, I mean, I feel like Mike Brown just brought basic transition defensive principles, and now he's carrying it out now under Tibbs. I don't know what was going on with the Knicks transition defense, why they were so poor at it, but it's good to see that Mike Brown's trying to correct that. And, with Lee's points about the defensive rebounding, I do think that, that can also be something that the Knicks can improve on, which will help them defensively as well, because you don't want to give the opposition second chance opportunities. So, and a lot of times on defense as well, since Mike Brown wants to pick up pace, sometimes those defensive rebounds can turn into transition baskets. So defensive rebounding is also going to be very important. So far, like pretty much from what I've been hearing from Mike Brown, I've been happy with, and I'm looking forward to see these things being carried out once the season begins.
All good points, man. Yo, shout out to wait a minute. Hold on. I'm seeing shout out to Anthony. Is that Anthony Donahue? I see Anthony D. I'm not sure if that's Donahue or some other Anthony. But shout out to Anthony D in the chat on YouTube. And shout out to my guy, Rick Nucky Fresh in the building. Shout out to you. All right. I haven't seen you in mad long. I just wanted to say that real quick. All right. Yo, Mike Brown, like Ebony said, has been speaking Ebonese. And one of the things that I like that he said was you was talking about Mitchell Robinson. How many times have I complained? You guys complained. We've all complained that Mitchell Robinson does not get the ball enough. This guy is an elite vertical threat. I remember the days when Jarrett Jack was here, when Mitchell Robinson was just catching lobs left and right. Now, some people say that it was just, he was more athletic then because he was smaller, but a lot of that is people were looking for him. People were straight up looking for him. And I feel like over seasons, ever since RJ got traded, people had stopped looking for Mitchell Robinson. And one of the things I'm excited about that Mike Brown has talked about is Mitchell Robinson. He says, and I quote, Mike Brown calls Robinson one of the best vertical threats in the NBA. He said, I can throw 3 alley-oops a game to Mitch. You just close your eyes and throw it up there. In my brain, he's speaking directly to Jalen Brunson. That's how I heard it in my brain. I know he didn't say Jalen. I know he didn't say. When he says I can throw 3 alley-oops, to me that means if I can throw 3 alley-oops to Mitch Robinson, then you guys should be able to throw 6 because I'm not even in the league. You know what I'm saying? I can just put on the Jets.
Putting them Jets on.
Y'all in the league, y'all should be able to do some things. And you guys already know how much I've talked about how I feel like Jalen Brunson, even though I don't like Lollipop Head, I do feel like Jalen Brunson should study Trey Young, and how he mixes up his lobs with his layup package. Right. Jalen Brunson has a deadly floater. It goes hand in hand with a lob. So Mitch Rob should be getting a lot of lobs this season, and I'm can't wait to see it. And hopefully, it's gonna happen. It's gonna follow through. By the way, it seems like these guys are practicing. I feel like one of the things I'm gonna see this year is more lobs from Mitch Rob.
I want to make a quick tape because I know Ebony's got a lot to say about this. But I think Jalen Brunson should watch tape of his teammates, Malcolm Brogdon and Jordan Clarkson, 2 guys, again, that when healthy, they have lots of tape, are elite in the mid-range. I look, campaign, again, no denigration to him and DeLon Wright. They are not Jordan Clarkson and Malcolm Brogdon. I would need to say this, because if Brogdon's not healthy, cut his ass. But if he's healthy, give this man 18, 20 minutes a game, because he's such a high IQ basketball player, and he does everything slightly above average, which is there's nothing more you can ask for in a backup point guard or a backup lead guard. Clarkson and Brogdon both have elite mid-range games, floaters, push shots, and lobs. And they know when to throw a lob and when to go for the push shot. And if Mitchell Robinson is playing alongside them in that bench unit or in mix and match scenarios, Karl-Anthony Towns and Yabusele are also in this conversation. And don't forget about my main man, Hut Porty. Toss the lobs. Jalen Brunson has his own teammates to watch him practice and know what positions on the court Mitch is the most proficient at executing a lob bet, whether it's from the left side or the right side or and straight up and pick and roll. Just watch your teammates, man. Those are 2 guys that have been 2 of the best lob threats, especially with Jordan Clarkson, Rudy Gobert tape in the Utah Jazz days.
Go ahead.
The more lob throwers, the better for me. You already know. But again, it should just not only on the lobs. I just need him to make the fast good pass and not necessarily always the forced pass because somebody's doubled him or whatever the case may be. So with Mike Brown and that 0.5 rule they have where you have to make a decision whether it's dribble, shoot in that amount of time. I'm hoping we get to see a little bit more relaxed and see kind of the year before how it was effortlessly for him. It also facts. Everybody threw it up to Mitch when we had before. Now it's like rare. We saw JB try to do it a little bit in the playoffs. Then he kind of went away from it again. I don't know. Maybe he's not comfortable, and it will only help him out because now you have the defense on their toes. They don't know whether to guard you're big for the lob or your floater. It allows more room for you and less pressure. You get what I mean? Like you if a big already scared right now on his heels having to guard JB. Now Jalen Brunson. Now he doesn't know if it's going to be a floater or a lob. That helps make more mistakes, puts more pressure on the defense, and they have to think, what do we give up? Now you making them think, what do we give up? So I think I love again Ebenezer. He's speaking it. He's speaking it. Because I've been asking for these lives for a minute. It's just that to keep the defense on their toes. That's all. That's it.
Please. Mm-hmm. Anybody else have any Mike Brown things they want to point out?
I'll just say this because I'm kind of reading the chat on YouTube right now, and I don't know whose man's is Anthony D, but my man's is going in on Mitchell Robinson, saying how this man is a bum, saying that he can't saying how the Knicks can't get one assist of this guy, and I'm like, yo, what did Mitch Robinson do to you? Like, yo, you got barely NBA players in the NBA catching lobs for easy dunks. Why can't Mitch do the same? And on top of that, Mitch ain't Butterfingers. Mitch got the athleticism. Mitch is tall. I mean, that's like 4 or 5 easy buckets a game. Just throw the ball up at the rim to Mitch. So I'm not understanding this. I'm like, what has Mitch Rob did to you, my guy? Like, what's going on?
I remember a year when Mitch was leading the league in field goal percentage. Yeah. I remember that. And not even just leading the league, but broke a record, broke an NBA record for highest field goal percentage in the league. So like, I hear you, but I don't hear you. I hear you, but
how do you watch the playoffs the last couple of years and say that he's overrated? How do you watch coaches talk about him without averaging 6 points? What was he averaging? How do you watch coaches game plan? We see JB Bickerstaff having PTSD in the last playoffs in Detroit. Yep. You got to do something with Mitch. You got to put a body. You got to do this. That man averaging 4 points, and he has the coach on the opposite team game planning for him, and you overrated.
Mm-hmm. Game plan to take him out the game.
I'm trying to let folks be this. Let folks be.
It's all good. Ebony will let him be. I'm gonna call him out.
I'm trying to let folks be.
Well, welcome back, Ryan. Man, we miss you, man.
One more point about Mike Brown, and I think we probably have multiple people who want to comment on that. I hope they want to comment on this. I've enjoyed his presence on camera, media. That's been something that's been a huge difference. I got so sick and tired of the Tibbs-isms, man. Like Tibbs was not an easy person to defend. Let me just say that. And I wasted a lot of minutes and yapping on this show defending my man Tom Thibodeau last year. Mike Brown has a moxie that really oozes charisma on camera, and he's not BSing either. You know he's telling the truth, and I think that's going to also translate to calling out Knicks players when they need to be called out. My number one or number two gripe, man, top three gripe about Tom Thibodeau, he let some guys' worst habits never get railed in. Like, I'm talking about Julius Randle, talking about Karl-Anthony Towns. I'm even talking about Jalen Brunson. There were things about them that need to be mitigated by the coach, talked to by the coach. We all talked about this. Everyone from Fritz on down to Phil has talked about this, that the coach needed to implement a new strategy or pull him aside and have a talk. I had no doubt that Mike Brown will do this. I've heard Mike Brown has done this with everyone from Kobe to LeBron to Pau Gasol to Sabonis to Fox. That's who he is, and he's learned that communication style from two of the GOATs, Greg Popovich and my main man, Steve Kerr.
In all actuality, his greatest strength might also be a weakness because him being so honest actually got him in trouble sometimes. Like you can't be too honest in front of the camera, and I think that's the one you can't help. Fans love it, but you don't want to call people out on camera. But I do agree that his honesty is going to help us and the accountability is going to help us. He's going to have to find that balance with the front office because the front office and the tight-lipped Knicks, they don't like too much honesty.
Fair counterpoint. I will say we have a much older roster than we have in the past. So I think
True.
These veterans can take that public criticism, I think, differently than some of the younger, fragile guys like Quentin Grimes or Emmanuel Quickly or RJ Barrett. So I think there's a little bit of a difference there, but I do agree. There's definitely a line that you don't cross in the Leon Rose regime.
I feel you. Sometimes some things you got to keep in house, but I do love his honesty and his charisma is definitely infectious. He's giving that uncle vibe. Definitely giving Uncle Brown for sure.
We talked about his quote earlier. Talked about his quote earlier before the show about accountability, and his version of accountability is everybody on that team letting go of who they are and what they're about.
Hell yeah!
So you know that I don't know if that was like a little shot or something that something that he's going to allude to, but there's some players who are great at certain things, and just because you're great at certain things doesn't mean you get a pass on other things. So I think that's something that's needed on this team.
Solid point. Now, as you know, we're talking about
Alex. Can I say something? Jay,
go ahead.
Can I talk to Chris real quick? Yeah, about that. That's a great quote. And also, we've spoken about. I think I've spoken about it a couple times on this pod, especially last season, about buying into it. I didn't think that Jalen Brunson's numbers would be as much what we think of his numbers, because you have to sacrifice for your team. And I always point it back to, I know it's not the NBA, but the WNBA that we just lost. We just lost again because whatever. But we're not gonna talk about that. But how we just lost, right? So, but the year before when we won the championship, right? It was because everybody bought into the team. It was not, they were not chasing any individual accolades unless there was like defensive player of the year or something, sixth man of the year or something like that. And the year prior to that, when we lost, the first year Stewie came here and we lost, she won MVP. And then when she needed her teammates, they weren't, they didn't know where to help her at, because she was doing the majority of the carrying during the regular season kind of vibes. So that's buying into the team, knowing that my numbers might not be like my normal numbers. People might say I fell off, but at the end of the day, if I could hoist that championship, they can't say I fell off, right? My play got us this, and it might not look like your prior numbers, but at the end of the day, if you just want to hold up the trophy, you got to buy into that system. You might have to take a less shot. You may have to make a one more pass type of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and then you have to coddle a lot of personalities. You got to keep people engaged. You got to keep people involved, so they don't feel like they're not a part either. So yeah, I think definitely that Mike Brown does a good job with that, with the offense, allowing everybody to eat. Is not chasing the best available player, get the ball to the best available player, is get the ball for the best available shot. And if that's the goal for every offensive play, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I had to say.
Okay, yeah. No, I agree. Listen, and while we're talking about coaching and ball movement and freedom and these players, this one player who seems ecstatic that Mike Brown is here, and his name is Deuce McBride, all right? Because he's made a couple of comments. It was like one of those things that make you go, type of comments. Because Deuce was asked, like, what have you noticed about Mike Brown's coaching style so far? He said he's been communicating with a lot of guys, also allowing a lot more people to talk and really get a feel for what's going on. He also said there's a lot more play movement, ball movement. Last year, at times, we got stagnant and we depended on a lot of isolation stats, which is tough down the stretch. This year is going to be a little bit more freedom with the movement and a lot of guys cutting and getting active. So Deuce seems ecstatic that Mike Brown is here. It's funny. I felt like I seen a little bit of a couple of stingers on the internet whenever Deuce quoted. But then you realize when you watch the whole interviews, he's actually very complimentary with Tom Thibodeau. He talked about how, he's the guy who drafted him and he thanks him for his career. But I think that's the balance of Deuce, man. He's like, I'm glad he drafted me. I'm thankful for his career. I'm glad he gave me a chance. He told me what I have to know. But at the same time, there's certain things that I want fixed. And I think Mike Brown is going to do that for us. So that's what I got from Deuce. What do you guys think of Deuce's comments? And did you guys notice the same thing I noticed about Deuce?
I'll say this. I'm not at Knicks practices. I'm not in the Knicks locker room. I don't have no idea as to what goes on, when Thibs was the coach of the Knicks and how they communicated with him and things of that nature. I can only go by off of like rumors I may hear, from different insiders and things of that nature. And at least from what we know from what others talk about, Thibs never seemed like the type of coach where he actually took input from other people, or maybe he never took input from other people on like a consistent basis. Maybe there was like once in a while where he would, but then there's other times where it's like, he wouldn't really take input from other people. And not saying that Deuce is taking shots at Thibs, because Deuce could be just talking about Mike Brown as a whole, as in that's Mike Brown's personality as a coach. That's what he does as a coach. It doesn't necessarily have to be shots at Thibs, but
right
at the same time, it's like he is telling the truth about the offense being stagnant, and that's because under Thibs, the offense relied on a lot of isolation shots. It relied on players using their individual ability to go one-on-one and try to create their shot off the dribble, which is what Brunson did a lot, and that's why people complain about Brunson pounding the ball so much, because there was a lack of ball movement and a lack of creativity on offense, and it was pretty much, you have the ball, go get your shot. So I think what Deuce is basically doing is that he's just praising Mike Brown for actually being that type of coach where he takes input from other people and considers it and either implements it or have a conversation about it and see like what direction they want to go in and things of that nature. And then on top of that, with the offense having more ball movement and things of that nature, it can only help the Knicks. So I don't think Deuce is taking shots at this specifically, and I think he's just talking about Mike Brown as a whole, as a coach. But I think some of the things that he did reference to can go back to Thibs, if you're familiar with the type of coach Thibs is.
Yeah. Well said. Anybody else?
I'm good.
I think Tibbs had his favorites. Like we've seen Tibbs make phone calls to Jalen Brunson, while other players saying that he doesn't talk to them, former players. So he definitely has his favorites. Maybe Deuce wasn't getting the Jalen Brunson treatment. So finally finding out what works for him, he's of all players, he's like one of those players too good for G League. He's a great shooter in G League, great shooter in college. Maybe comfortability may factor in that. Like if you give him what he wants or put him in a situation where he feels more comfortable, maybe he shoots better. Like,
okay,
being ignored.
Yeah. Wait. I'm sorry. Where did this notion that Deuce can't shoot come from though? He shot 40% from three 2 seasons ago, and then he had a down year, and his down year was 38% from three. Like I know he shot like. Where is this? He can shoot better thing come from.
He had another. What was the year before then? When he first came back in, it was not first came in. I remember it couldn't translate. The shooting wouldn't translate.
Right.
So that's where it got people started to say, "Oh, he can't shoot." Like he was knocking it down, scoring crazy in the G League, but the jump shot just wouldn't. I guess he was, like you mentioned, the nerves or whatever the case may be. I'm on a big stage. Maybe that had some kind of factor into it. But I remember that when he was up and down when he first came, that It was like, Dad, you scored 30. Come on, can we see something over
Right.
here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Fred.
I know. I think it's finally probably a change that it's not all Jalen Brunson getting all the shine. Like Jalen Brunson doesn't need it. Like you see the way his dad talks to him, like he doesn't need that ego boost. Maybe other players need that boost to be confident in their games. And like I guess he's gonna spread it around because you need to get the best out of your players.
I
I
agree.
think it's like we're all employees in some capacity to someone, if not now, at some point in our life, we have been. There's a certain sense of loyalty. You have that person that hired you. You give it your all, you bust your ass, but that person's let go and they bring someone else in. It's like, I'm giving you a raise. I'm giving you a better position. I'm giving you a new title, and you're going to work less and work smarter. You're like, oh, hell, it's lit.
More shots?
Right? No, it's not like I don't like my old boss any less, but I really love this new boss. I think that's what Deuce is feeling right now. He's only known Tibbs in the NBA. He's not like some of these other guys that came on and had multiple coaches in their veteran tenure. This is the only coach that he's known, and that staff is the only staff that he's known too. It's mostly a brand new organization for him. So I think he has a chance. He's got to have a great camp. He has a chance to start. All signs and arrows are pointing to Mitchell Robinson being the starter and Josh Hart after him. Deuce seems to be not really have a strong chance to start. But I think if he really shows something, maybe he doesn't start, but his man's still up. Maybe he closes. And to me, that's a step up in his career.
Listen, man. I think Deuce getting more touches. I think the offense expanding. I think the sting that he felt losing last season to the Indiana Pacers, I think all that's going to help Deuce get better this season. I feel like ball handling is still something he needs to work on. There's been videos circulating around Twitter, him working on his ball hand. Looks pretty good. It looks like he's getting that hezzy hang dribble tween going down pat. It looks great. So if he can get that down pat where he's able to get the ball handling right, with the shooting, because the shooting off the dribble has been a lot better. The contested shooting has been a lot better. Like Ebony says, a lot of times his finishing around the rim hasn't been good. But if he can add that to his game, I think it's going to do great for him in his career. Hopefully we can still afford him if he gets better. But who knows what happens. But I think Deuce is going to have a hell of a year for sure.
And just one more small little point toward Deuce not being a good shooter. Yes, there was a dip overall, but I've said this in the chat. He still shot 41% on catch and shoot three. So he still has his role.
Yeah, cleaning the glass. I just looked at his 3-point percentage and cleaning the glass. I think they take out garbage time. They take out garbage time shots. He shot 38% from three. So his down year is 38% from three. Like, I'm taking that. I'm taking that any time. Like, I think it was overblown.
Just his handle and his finishing layup package. That's where he needs to work. I told y'all all the time that Nike commercial, he going to the Chinese store, he better do. He better get it with the doom. He better, wherever he going to go get some Pampers, go have that basketball in his hand.
Yeah.
Go get the baby the Pampers.
Yeah, shout out to the Anwar mixtape babies out there.
For him, for that too, being a new dad. But yeah, I think Mike Brown would definitely benefit Deuce, who does move well on a move. Shoot well. You know, he's a mid-range assassin. He flashed across that middle to the free throw line. It's almost at times automatic.
Career high from the mid-range last season, for sure.
So yeah, I think that's why he's ecstatic. I'm gonna be moving everywhere. I can catch people back door. I can use my speed now. I'm not just gonna be standing in front of people. I'm not gonna just be on a wing like this the whole time. Jalen, give me the ball. I'm ready. I'm ready. Like, I'm not gonna have to do that. So I'll be clicking my heels too. I will be clicking my heels too. Because yes, I see it for him. Even the defense in transition. Talk about that the finishing part of his game. If he gets that down pack, especially if we trying to push.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, definitely. I see big things for Deuce. We might not be able to retain him after this year, but I see big things for Deuce this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm excited. And Deuce, one thing about Deuce, he's gotten better every year. Every time we've asked him to do something, he's added that or tried to add that to his game. So that gives me great confidence in him and knowing and seeing that video because it looked real fluid. It didn't look forced when he was doing the moves and working out in the gym. That flip,
sure did.
It looked real fluid. So yeah, I'm excited to see this whole again when I like I mentioned in the article Lee wrote when I we did the joint article. I said that multiple Knicks. I'm excited to see multiple Knicks under Mike Brown. OG especially. I'm happy for him. You know.
Oh.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No. I was going to lead into the next topic because Mike Brown seems like he wants more from OG as well. Mike Brown says he wants OG to be Defensive Player of the Year. OG every year says he wants to be Defensive Player of the Year. I think what funny thing enough is one of the things that probably prevented him from being that last year might have been Josh Hart. Because here's the thing. When you're a Defensive Player of the Year caliber and your team is bottom, 20 in defense, you don't usually get those awards. So I feel like just the change in starting lineup this season of adding an elite defender, whether you're feeling like it's Mitch, whether you're feeling like it's Deuce, I feel like it's going to help OG's case of winning Defensive Player of the Year this year. And I know Lee was talking about another thing that could help him win Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, he's talking about behind the scenes? I forgot what he's talking about. Go ahead, Lee.
About OG and Anunoby winning Defensive Player of the Year?
Yeah, was it you? Was it Rich? I feel like it was you.
Well, the two things that I think need to happen. One, he's got to stay healthy again, which Casey Smith was working miracles last season when you think about Mitchell Robinson in the playoffs and OG Anunoby in the season. Like, he proved his worth year one. That ROI was immediate in snapping Casey Smith. Dallas is just – they're dumbasses for so many reasons, but the Casey Smith one really – when you look at the injuries for the Mavericks and what they had compared to the Knicks, bro, pay Casey Smith whatever he asked for. Whatever loophole, Steve Ballmer loophole you got to do, get that man a mansion, man, in Long Island, wherever he wants to live. Like, that dude performed some New Testament miracles on our players' health last season. I want a repeat of that so we can win this chip. And two, it's not making OG and Anunoby have to do everything, man. We talked about that early pre-switch that Tibbs had OG doing, try to protect Cat. That wore him out, man. He can't be the disruptor that we know he can be if he's having to guard the rim at basically guarding centers and guards in pick and roll. That's not his job. I want him to be either a primary or a secondary ball hawk, defending the point of attack, or playing as a free safety, disrupting passing lanes, and just getting on whoever he needs to get on off of a switch, right? It would depend on what the scheme is for that game, which I think will change game to game, and I think we'll see more zone than we've ever had under Mike Brown too. I hope so too, based on some of the starting lineup possibilities. But yeah, don't surround OG and Anunoby with four bum-ass defenders. Let him play a lot of his minutes out there with Deuce, with Mitch, not with Cat at the 5, and then watch what that man can do on defense.
Good point. Oh, man. I see somebody says Diarra needs to come in healthy and ready to take those minutes.
Love that kid.
Oh, I love everybody here loves that kid. That kid. Thing is, he ain't getting no minutes unless somebody get hurt. Maybe two people get hurt.
His minutes come. His minutes are gonna come by him earning it. Like, him doing that through the season, showing things in the practice, showing what he got in the practice, how he locking up, or whatever the case may be. But it'll happen at the end, or like you mentioned, unfortunate things happen during the season. So I don't want to say these words no more. So I'm using unfortunate situations happen during the season instead. From now on, I don't want to say that word. So
I feel you. You don't want to jinx it. I understand.
So then I can see him getting it. I can really see him carving out a specialist role for himself. I do see him being able, in case we do run into the Siakam type vibes, him being able to play as somebody that you could just plug in later on down. If I'm anything, I think he has not this like consistent minutes. No. I think that comes maybe later, but he has a chance. I think he's definitely a gem. And Lee had mentioned something that I totally agree with. about let OG play with other defenders. We have playmakers. We have a defensive playmakers, more than 2 on our team. I think you can even scoot in and Deuce actually also. When you think about what his impact and the type of plays when he's on defense, what they do for our team and the energy a lot of times. So I might be able to classify him soon if it keep continue in that category himself. But yeah, a lot they never play with each other. I mean, pause like the likes of these type of defenders before. They've never done that. You got OG and then you have a beast behind you. And on the side of you got another beast. Like let them play together. Pause, but let them do that.
Yo, today the pauses are next level. Hey Twitter. Hey, okay. All right.
I don't want to say it again. Just let them do that.
And the funny thing about the pause thing is every time Ebony says it, I'm like, yo, Ebony doesn't have to say it. She's a girl. Like I feel like we gotta say it, but Ebony,
I tell you, it's just where I'm from. It's part of it's like
I feel you, but I thought the rules was different from man to woman.
When you're around male friends and you say something, they be like, "Come on, I don't want to hear that."
Yeah.
With the pause.
Yo, my first season on KOT, Ryan was saying pause after everything I said. He was like, "Yo, what?"
yeah.
Yo, I'm gonna just keep it real right quick. Like, as a man saying playing with balls sound way more suspect than a girl saying playing with balls. So that's why it's necessary for us to be like pause after we say it. But at least with a girl, it's like you play with balls. Like, yo, you supposed to play with balls.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like you don't gotta pause.
It's a comma at this point. It's habit, y'all. I just say pause and keep it pushing.
All right. Well,
I do have one thing to say though about OG winning the Defensive Player of the Year.
Go ahead.
I feel like if he has a legit shot at winning the Defensive Player of the Year, the team really has to help him get to that award. Because if you look at past Defensive Player of the Year winners, it's either A, that team did really well that season, meaning like that team was either a number 1 or number 2 seed, and that player stood out on the defensive side of the ball as the best defender on that team, or B, it's somebody with the reputation like Gobert, where it's like this guy just has the reputation of being a good defensive player. So you know what, we're just going to give him the award. So for the Knicks so I think for OG to really get the Defensive Player of the Year, not only does he have to defend his ass off and show his worth, the Knicks have to be a really, really good team to really get OG into that consideration for that award. And part of the reason why I want Mitch in the starting lineup is because I feel like that's going to move OG to a natural position at the 3, where he doesn't have to really guard players bigger than him. He can guard wings, which I think that's where he specializes in, wings and sometimes guards. It depends on the type of guard though, because if it's a smaller, quick guard, he tends to struggle a bit with those types of guards. But I think if you keep OG on wings and like those tweener guards,
he's
that's
good.
Like I think that's where he really excels on defense. So if the Knicks can do that, I feel like OG has a real strong shot at winning Defensive Player of the Year.
Good point.
That's a good
point. Yeah. Ryan hit the nail on the head on that one. I think it's going to be really hard for him to get Defensive Player of the Year because I think the league just wants to give Wemby something. and it's going to be tough for him to get that award. But being in his right position definitely will help. I think having a different coach, I think he could probably defend people he probably wouldn't be defending if Tibbs was still here. I think Tibbs always put him on the big player, and I think that may be a little bit different now.
Yeah,
put him on the big. Is he not supposed to be on the big player?
I got another take though too. Also, if Mitch gets the start, I think that we might have possibility of having 2 of them, 2 names as a mention. To be honest.
Okay. You can see that, but possibilities are endless because Mitch does have that capability too. So It remains to be seen, man. All good points. Shoot,
I think they help each other be that though.
I feel you. I still feel like you can do that with McBride too. Personally, me personally, just because of his DOA defense, I still feel like he has a shot with McBride there. That's me personally. But all good points. All good points. Anything else you guys want to talk about when it comes to training camp, the Knicks? I know Jalen Brunson lost about a lot of weight. It seems like he looks trimmer. Hopefully that helps him defensively. Hopefully it helps his transition defense as well. I think that's the only thing that maybe we didn't touch on today so far was Jalen Brunson's weight loss.
Okay. Yeah, well, he already small in stature, but I like it. You know, get some of that quickness, elusiveness, change of speed, stuff of that nature. Maybe he thought that he was too heavy, and that may have accounted to some of the injuries. Who knows? You know, players they know their body. So if he got lean, it was for a reason. You know, something wasn't clicking for him to him.
Probably stamina.
Yeah, maybe, but I like it. Shows the discipline, shows the focus where he's locked in. Look, I got to get my body together. I'm going to do that. I believe in this team, so whatever I got to do, I'm going to do it. I like it. I respect it.
The final point I have on train camp. Oh, I'm sorry, Fritz. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
The final point I have on train camp is whatever needs to be done. If that means getting Colwitt's bum ass out of here, get his bum ass out of here. Like I was Colwitt high, man. Year one, that white boy, he looked solid. I was like, wow, he's never ever scared to shoot. But the defense is a serious issue, and there's been no data or eye test that tells me that he has the path forward to get better in that resolve as both an individual defender and within a team scheme. He's not going to do it. This is chip time. So when it's chip time, you get rid of his straddlers. And to me, Colt is the number one straddler. And I'll take that a little step further. This might piss some of the fan base off. I've come to the conclusion that in order to keep Malcolm Brogdon, I'm ready to move on from Pacome Dadiet. And I know that's a hot take, but we need to do whatever we can to win this chip and secure our depth. I'm not advocating to get rid of Pacome Dadiet, but if Malcolm Brogdon really is healthy, you have to. Landry Shamet proved his worth. He can defend in transition. He can defend in half court. He can switch on defense, and he can defend at the rim. He was one of our best playoff defenders last year in Landry Shamet, and once he got his groove back, the dude was hitting his three. So when I look at this roster and what we need, I think Shamet's on the outside looking in on the rotation. But if an injury happens, knock on wood, I love Shamet come in and provide that depth rather than Pacome Dadiet this year, because this is championship year as well as next year. So in my opinion, that trade needs to be made ASAP to move out one of his young bums and bring in the secure Brogdon and Shamet to both be on the roster. I love them both, man. And I think Brogdon is healthy because that quote I dropped in our group chat today, there are multiple contenders looking at him. And there were some teams out there, he said there, he was like, that's a good opportunity. But he chose the Knicks because he thought we had a chance to win all this season. If other teams are doing their due diligence, Leon did too. So he has to be healthy and can impact our roster. And if Brogdon's healthy, he's actually the recent addition I'm most excited about, and I think has the highest ceiling.
I wouldn't call Pacome a bum, but
no offense to it, kid.
I would say I agree with you though. Like I agree. Depending on what Brogdon we have.
Yes.
Depending on what Brogdon we have. Depending on what Pacome we have, because this is our window, like you kind of gotta go for that window. Like yeah. I mentioned this before, and people might not like it. I know a lot of Knicks fans, including myself, they like to hold on to a lot of young players who have potential. But in the league, you lose young players when you're in contention because you're trying to be in contention. That's just what happens. That's how a lot of young players end up on other teams and showing themselves. And the thing about Pacome is he has the ability to be something, but he might be a long time away. Like you don't know, it's gonna be 3 years, 4 years. It's gonna be a minute. It's gonna be a minute. And this is the hard thing about being a championship team or championship contending team in 2025 with the cap being what it is, with the new apron rules being what it is. you got to make a lot of tough decisions, and sometimes those tough decisions mean letting go of something so you can get something better, or letting go of something so you can get a chip now, or like choosing this young guy over this young guy. So we have a lot of hard decisions to make, and that might be a decision to make. Now, granted, I'd rather trade Kolick to Timbuktu for a second round and be good with it. If that's what we can do, I definitely want to lean into that more than trade Pacome, for sure. Yeah. Without a doubt. If Orlando or the Wizards or Brooklyn was like, yo, we'll give you a second for Kolick tomorrow, he shipped yesterday.
You know that's our 1-2 punch, Jay. I go all the way out. You rein me back in. You're right, but I don't mean Pacome Dadiet is a bum. But if Shamet and Brogdon are both healthy, he can go in order to make that happen.
Yeah, I'm a little skeptical with that, and because I see what happened to Golden State. I think I told you guys like about next after you win the championship. Then what's the next? The next that happens, you know, do you get it again, or are you struggling to get into the playoffs? So that's my thing. And also, if again, I know with the contract situation with Deuce, I'm not sure how. I'm not big on the numbers, but suppose he throws a monkey wrench in the plans of Malcolm Brogdon. Suppose that, you know, one of the things that was an issue was that we thought he couldn't run a team, mix up, you know, running a team and getting his at times, right? He couldn't break down the defense to create for others on a consistent basis like we needed it, really. Suppose that he did better last year I thought in that area. And again, he's working again this year. What if he throws a monkey wrench in this whole, we need both Shamet and Brogdon? Like that's what I'm. I really think that we see Deuce do his thing, and we see a veteran Deuce now. We can call him a vet now, right? What is this? Fifth year? What is this?
I mean, Ebony, if that happens, you pivot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
this is what training camp is for.
We don't have to trade the youth. Pacome in them is what I'm saying. Yeah, so that's what I'm just throwing out what ifs. Because there is a lot of possibilities, and people do take leaps. People do add to their game. So
you pivot. This is what training camp is for.
And then, you know, did we have our coach during the summer league? We just hired him like right before, right? I can't remember exactly the time frame.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so, you know, they might have not had a chance to really get into the system of what Mike Brown is looking for. So we don't know, again, like we was mentioned before, we don't know what goes on in those practices, but I'm just trying to throw a little monkey wrench. Maybe Deuce come up here like, oh, you thought you was going to take my job in my minutes? No, mister, watch me work. Watch me work. Watch me work.
I mean, he's still going to be the best point of attack defender on the team, point blank period. So he's going to play. Like, he's going to play.
Yeah, I really don't like the idea of trading Pacome Dadiet and getting back like a couple second round picks. Like, I don't want to trade Pacome Dadiet and then Landry Shamet be situational. Like, if you're going to trade Pacome Dadiet in a trade, it has to bring something back that we need. But I just don't want a situation Landry, because there's so many guards on this team. Like, I really think Landry Shamet is just one of many shooters on this team.
Ooh, I think he's our best shooter.
He is our best shooter.
I think every metric that you can judge shooting, whether it's stand still or pull up or catch and shoot or off the dribble, I think he is our best overall. So to me, that's a weapon you need in the playoffs. And you had the eye test. We saw him produce in the playoffs. I've only seen Pacome Dadiet. Like, surprised me that he doesn't speak with a French accent. I don't know what Pacome Dadiet does on the court in a regular NBA season game, and I sure as hell don't know what he does in the playoffs. But I do know what Landry Shamet does in the playoffs, and he plays some damn good defense and he hits some big threes. So if I'm weighing the options, there's so many good players. We've never had this many good players in the NBA at one time. There's a lot of great players with no job right now. Russell Westbrook is out of a job right now. That's crazy to me. That
Houston. KD reunion. I'm sorry.
But to me, when I'm weighing Pacome later or Shamet now, I think if you're trying to win the chip, if that's number one goal, you do Shamet now.
Sham wow, sham now.
I don't know. I'm I'm 2 for 1. I'm 2 for 1 trade at this point. Like, I think 2 for 1 trade makes just too much sense right now. 2 for 1.
What do you guys think in the chat? Would you trade Pacome Dadiet to sign Brogdon for a year if Brogdon is 6th man of the year type of player, or do you wait, or do you wait and you say, hell no, I'm not trying Pacome for Brogdon. He's too old. What do you guys think in the chat?
Knicks Nation TV said, put Kolek in an Uber. Yo. Oh, that's a great comment.
Oh my gosh. All right. Anything else you guys want to talk about before I go to this last topic? Let's get to it then. New York, man. New York is a tough place to play. It is an absolute tough place to play. Heaviest jersey in the league is definitely New York. And we seen it when Julius Randle was here. We saw Julius Randle do the thumbs down. We seen him have some big moments as well. But in his final moments, much like that thumbs down year, Julius Randle admits to the public that he was depressed. Julius Randle said injuries, the Knicks playoff run without him, toxic narratives that led to depression and pushed him to a dark place where he turned to marijuana. All right. And at the end of the time, he was at his darkest moments and just miserable. So I think that had a lot to do to why Julius Randle was traded in the first place. But you know what? Like, in my opinion, even with the dark days of Julius Randle, when you look at the body of work, he's still gonna go down as one of the most dynamic Knicks in Knick history, with all his double doubles, all his assists, with the way he played, despite his flaws. Despite his flaws, did we win a championship? No. Did he get on our nerves? Yes. Did he get on my nerves? Hell yes. But at the end of the day, you can't take away the dynamic player that was Julius Randle's flaws and all. And I can understand some of this, you know, like I can understand being depressed because of the way that the fans got in on him. And I can understand being depressed because he worked his ass off the last season, was playing the best basketball, in my opinion, of his career, until he got undercut by what I call a dirty play by the Miami Heat. Like, that game, he was playing great. Like, it was like his best passing game I've seen as a Knick, period. And I still feel like that team with Julius Randle, Hartenstein, and everybody had a chance to like compete for a chip the way he was playing. So I get it. I definitely get it. I still kind of feel like he might not be. I feel like he was a little tougher though. I do feel like I feel like he was. I wish he was a little mentally tougher for this team. But I also, at the same time, still appreciate what he's done, and I just get where that depression and dark place comes from. I don't know if you guys want to add anything to that.
Yeah, I add something. Yeah, like you mentioned, it's not easy playing in New York. It's definitely not easy playing in New York. I didn't play on the big scale that Julius Randle plays in, but even in the parks of New York, you get people randomly walking down the street just calling you trash because they could, you know. So I get it. I understand. And you can't fault people how they handle their depression. Me being part of the Roses and Petunia gang, I was like, whoa, like he was giving these vibes. He was like, whoa, he was giving those vibes. But yeah, I just wish that he pretended that it wasn't getting to him. And trying to kind of lash at us about it, you know. That's I guess. But the only thing, and like you mentioned, I wish he would have performed in some spots and not let his temperament maybe make him lose the game or lose focus in the game, lose your place in games at times. So yeah, I was not a big fan, but I respect that he did try to come here and do something that other people had said no to. So yeah, that's where I land with Julius. He's still always going to be a whirling and twirling Tasmanian devil to me, or a little whirling and twirling ballerina. Either either those two. That's how you look for me. Was it dubious handles they call him now? We ain't see
Oh
we
my
ain't see
God.
that level of toxic shit. That happened afterwards, right?
Oh,
That happened in Minnesota. That nickname, right? That wasn't us. That wasn't us.
Yikes.
Bruh.
That wasn't us. That wasn't us. Yeah, he has his flaws in his games, you know. So that's all. I just he feeling like it's telling his story. He's telling his side. He can that, and some people need that. You don't know what people. This could be his version of a diary, or getting it off his chest.
no, for sure.
Yeah. I think I think the fans' reaction to his comments are a little overblown.
What have you seen? What have you been saying?
No, they say, "Oh, he's just soft for saying that," but like seriously, we're in like a toxic social era. Julius Randle did one of the things you can't take back, and like New York fans, they won't forget when you thumbed them down or you said something negative about the fan. The fans never think they're wrong, and it's something he can never take back. And I think it's okay to say you got depressed because they're not going to let you forget. There's nothing wrong to say that it bothered you. And I think a lot of fans think, oh, things should never bother you because you're making a certain amount of money. But when it got to the point where, you know, his contract negotiations, people are like, nah, he should just give them, you know, he should just play basically for nothing. Like they don't care. Like some fans are just like that. And if you're listening to those fans and you validate their thoughts, it's gonna bother you. It's gonna bother you. It's just the era we live in. Like,
yes,
there's nothing you can do to undo a thumbs down. There's nothing you can do to undo the little situations. Like it's forever in Knicks lore, and there's just some people who will always bring it up.
Yo, some fans went too, like, I agree with Phil too. Like, some fans went way too far beyond basketball to troll this man and his family. Like, to the point where it's like, bro, like, can we? I know we passionate Knicks fans, but we gotta draw the line somewhere. He's still a man with a family, and it's still disrespectful to like cross certain lines. And so I see both sides, yo. I get it. Like, personally, I wish he was mentally tougher, but also some of the stuff that I saw him go through just online is like a lot for a normal person to go through. So it's like, I get it. I get it, man.
I just don't think it should have been. I just don't think it should have been categorized as soft for expressing it. Like, I don't think anything he said was like way over the line.
Yeah, I agree, Fritz. I don't think it's soft at all either. I actually think it takes courage to speak out when you're having a tough time, or say that you needed help or you needed something to help you get through the tough time. To just be able to speak about that now means she's healing from it or healed from it, you know, or trying to heal from it. We don't know, but if he has the courage to speak out on it, I don't find that soft at all. I find that the opposite.
And I will add this. Although he was depressed and, you know, struggling with his time here in New York, I do give him props for one thing, because although he was depressed, that final season he was here, he was showing up. He was definitely balling it. He was definitely balling his ass off. And I do remember when the Knicks made the trade for OG, while he was still playing with OG added into the lineup, the Knicks were like 15-1 or 15-2, like some record like that during that time period. And the Knicks looked like they could really take it all the way. So, you know, just to be a part of that, then all of a sudden get injured, and then you have to watch the rest of it.
Yeah.
You know, throughout the season, like that's gonna affect some players. You know, because you're gonna wish that you were a part of that, and you know that, and you know that before you were injured, you were a part of building, you know, that championship roster, and all of a sudden you get that taken away from you, and you have to sit on the bench, and you know, and watch, you know, your teammates have fun out there and compete their asses off, and you're just there sitting and, you know,
Yeah.
watching them. So I mean,
and it was low key a contract. It was low key a contract year. Like it was, and it wasn't. It was like the timing of it was bad.
yeah. So although he was depressed, I do give him props for overcoming that and balling his ass off that one last year in New York before they shipped him out. So
I spent so many hours, so much energy, emotional energy defending Carmelo Anthony in his tenure here. If I told myself after that I would never go that hard and make excuses for a player ever again. I got in 2 physical fights at a Dallas bar defending Carmelo Anthony, one where I got my ass beat and the other where I beat some ass. And I walked away from that saying, you know what, I'm not going to have this passionate, emotional investment in a player moving forward. One, because I'm getting too damn old for this, but 2, I had to recognize they're human beings just like me. I thought Julius Randle was one of the best examples of a Knick who was a real human being too. I would say in my fandom, which started in 2002, he's the 3rd best Knick that I've seen. I would put Jalen Brunson number 1, Carmelo Anthony number 2, Julius Randle number 3. Now, another year of Cat or another year of OG, it could supplant him. But in my time thus far, he came here when no one else wanted to come here. But he wasn't traded here. He chose to sign here. And he signed here when we were total ass. He signed here when it was Steve Mills and David Fizdale running the team. There were no expectations, and he came here for the biggest check of his life and to be able to put up stats as the man. He wanted to be the man, and ultimately he was unable to be the man. Now, I'm also someone who deals with severe depression, severe anxiety, in my younger, suicidal ideation, mental illness. I have used weed to cope. I currently use weed to help my depression. I find it to be more useful than Lexapro or any other antidepressant. I will also say that, unlike me, Julius Randle is not from the trenches. And I don't say that to be like, oh, look at Lee, he's bad. I wish I wasn't. My childhood was rough. Julius Randle is from North Dallas. He's from Plano. He went to a Christian private academy. Not saying what his home life was like. I had no idea. But the type of environment he was at school was very different than the type of environment that I was at school. And sometimes that can give you a hard edge when you're in a moment. All that pressure is nothing compared to the abuse that you've suffered at the hands as a child. It's very different. So as an adult, you can contextualize that and push past it. Julius Randle, when it came down to it, could not push past it. He let the fans, he let his teammates, he let the city, he let MSG, he let the blue and orange jersey on his chest override his performance. And what did he do? He put up civil rights numbers in the playoffs. I have more memories of Penny Hardaway balling out in a Knicks jersey in the playoffs in 2004 than I'd ever do of Julius Randle and his tenure with the Knicks. Ultimately, he was a bad playoff performer, perhaps the worst playoff performer that I've seen as a New York Knicks fan, close with Stoudemire. But Stoudemire had injuries. Randle didn't in the playoffs every time. So there's good and there's bad with Julius Randle. Y'all know, you probably got sick of me defending Julius Randle and Tom Thibodeau so much while they were here. But I wanted to defend them as human beings because I suffer from a lot of the same ills that Randle did. But ultimately, Randle did not produce in the playoffs. And what happened with Minnesota? He balled out because Minnesota, like North Dallas, is not South Dallas and MSG. It's a different environment. It's different trenches. It's different warfare. So he was able to produce excellent and be a great playoff performer for Minnesota Timberwolves. But when those lights were bright in MSG, the humanity came out, and he just wasn't built for it.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. And apparently you got a sports psychologist too, a la Ron Artest or Metal World Peace, however you want to call him. And he said that's what helped him during the playoffs. But you're absolutely right. Despite how well he did play during the regular season, the playoffs was still kind of eluded him. And if he did perform well in the playoffs, he really be on the Mount Rushmore of Knicks.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Today, I still appreciate him for what he has done in a Knicks uniform. And listen, he helped bring us Karl Anthony Towns, is one of the best shooting big men we've seen in a Knicks uniform. And hopefully we get it right this time where we're getting a chip with our next guy, Karl Anthony Towns. And if we do it right, then Karl Anthony Towns will surpass Julius Randle as one of the best Knicks ever. So Let's hope. Let's hope Mike Brown and Karl Anthony Towns and company bring this thing home, man. I want to see a championship. Damn it.
Yeah, it's a tough jersey. It's a tough jersey to wear. That's why the Knicks do employ a psychologist and a sports psychologist. So that is someone they do have, visiting on staff. So, yeah, it is a real thing. It isn't just Julius Randle has this problem that nobody else has. This is NBA players are going through this.
Excellent point.
Absolutely.
Definitely. And I want to end this segment by saying this. That spin move is elite. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, man. You wrapped it up nicely.
When he throw it to the fans, he was like, he get the fans involved in the game, that one.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, y'all just,
If you could tell, Julius, he just drove me crazy, man. He drove me crazy a lot. He did.
Oh my gosh, I miss y'all. I do. I miss you. Good to be back. It's good. It is. All right, yo, that's the show. I'm gonna close by playing something for you guys. Actually, Phil has been nice enough to record our guy Lee Escobedo and throw a short up on our YouTube channel. And all of us should kind of do this. I think we all should do this, actually. Kind of show the history of our Knicks fan and then post it on the YouTube channel since it is our channel and make it personal to us. So I'm going to just play it for you guys before we close. Shout out to Phil for doing it. And
Shout out Phil, man.
Yeah, and shout out to our guy Lee Escobedo. Now I'm getting used to new controls now, so it might take me a little longer to do stuff than usual, but I'm fastly learning and getting used to it. Okay. I'm gonna find it for you. Give me a second. There we go. Ooh, mosquito. All right. There we go.
My name is Lee.
Wait, what happened? Oops. What happened to?
Is the volume on?
It's shut off. Oh, there you go.
It's a bridge between myself and my father. My name is Lee Escobedo, writer, thinker, critic, co-host, Knicks Time Show. My Knicks fandom started as a bridge between myself and my father. We don't have much in common as men, and when I was around 18, 19, I wanted to absorb something that he found passion and love in. So I decided, even though I wasn't a sports person ever in my life, I wanted to start rooting for the Knicks. So I got heavily first into basketball and looked at the field and saw what the Knicks were in the East Conference Finals. I was like, yeah, I think I might have decided to root for New York because my dad grew up in New York and was a teenager during the 70 and 73 chip. So I was like, this is a great time for me to become a Knicks fan. Little did I know that would become the start of a James Dolan purgatory, and I would become a fan right as we cratered out into 20 years of nihilism and poverty. My number one favorite Knicks moment is 2012, first round against the Miami Heat. And I believe it was game 4 to stave off elimination, and Melo dropped over 40. And my dad and I drove around before the game started, about 15 or 20 minutes in South Dallas, to try to find a restaurant that had a TV that we could watch it on. Now, it's hard to find a restaurant here in Dallas that has the NBA package, but we found one deep in the heart of Oak Cliff. And we huddled around this very small TV they brought in from the kitchen and happened to have NBA.com and NBA package because the chefs were watching it. And so me and my dad ate enchiladas and drank Modelo's and watched a game. And as the Knicks won that game, that was the very first playoff win I'd ever seen in my life. And my dad put his arm around me and I was crying uncontrollably. And he looked me in the eye and said, this one was for you. And that was a moment that crystallized that I wanted to see a championship for me and my dad to be able to galvanize around and have something meaningful that him and I started from the trenches and won and fought through and earned it together. My favorite player, without question, is Carmelo Anthony. Loved his swagger, loved how he was an underdog, loved all the criticism. I relate a lot to the hubris that he showed and kind of choosing the financial stability over a chip all those flaws I think could be directed at Carmelo, I absorbed too, because as someone who came from nothing, I never wanted to let go of opportunities to survive on my own. So I empathize with him in that regard, as well as being half Hispanic. He's half Puerto Rican, I'm half Mexican, so I relate in that capacity as well. And he had this unshakable swagger, but I always deeply respected, and I think that I embody in my own way, never to be shaken by detractors or critics, and to always stay true to myself.
That is a fact.
Chip or bust, man. This is it. I've been saying championship every year since Jalen Brunson arrived in New York, but I really feel like with the injuries in the East to Indiana and Boston, it is a pretty open pathway to the finals. And as long as we have Jalen Brunson on our team, we have a chance to win this chip. And I think this is the year for us to do it.
Let's go. Oh, man.
Salute Phil.
Yeah, salute to Phil.
Sometimes only that kind of content can come when you get to meet your brother in person. And it was such a joy for me to meet my first KOT family member in person in Dallas. And double blessings to Phil for taking that 1.5-hour drive to come see me and spend time with me and break bread, man. Much love, brother.
Much love, much love, much love. For real, for real, for real. All right, so definitely check that out on the Knick Time YouTube channel. For you guys watching on Twitter, there's a lot of you guys. It's 330 people watching on Twitter. If you enjoyed the show, you enjoyed our commentary, come join us, man. Go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Knick Time Show. The link to the channel is in that Twitter description. So come follow us, subscribe to the channel. We're able to post your thoughts and stuff on the channel too, as well as the other guys on YouTube. And shout out to everybody else who's on YouTube as well who's watching. All right. There's a lot of y'all today rocking out with us. I think there's like, I don't know, 70, 80 people on YouTube or something like that. And the chat is moving so I can't tell. I'm trying to shout y'all out, but it's moving so fast I can't even shout y'all out. Chat is going insane. But yo, thank you guys for supporting the channel. I think we're gonna have a great year, and it's first of many to come. So shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to Top Notch, JT Riddick, Van Allen, Truth Be True, Warren Franklin, JM30, the David Smith. Nuggy Fresh in the building. Shout out to Nuggy Fresh, Lost One, Nostalgia Nigga. Everybody else is rocking with the KOT show. All right. Also, hit that like and subscribe. Super chats are also welcome. It helps keep the lights on. And yeah, that's on Gamer Channel. Shout out to Gamer Channel too. I see you, my guy, Gamer Channel in the chat. All right. That is the show. Fritz, best mod in the game. Let them know where they can find you, man.
You can find me on Twitter on Fritz Handles on Twitter. Also NBA Economy Show on YouTube.
Cool. We like that. All right. Ryan G, wait, hold on. Ebony, let them know they can find you.
You can find me here after every post game. Well, when we get post game, but until then, whenever we do the show. So, but yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Matt, Twitch, TikTok. I think that's about it. Instagram at Mad Knick Fan. You know, coming up soon. I know we have the pregame, the first preseason game, I guess, is coming up. So you can catch me on Your Take Knicks before that, I guess. Yeah, that's it. The Liberty season is no longer. We're not going to talk about that, but yeah, you could have caught me there at Balling with the Queens. So on Twitter. Yeah, that's about it.
All right. Lee, let me know where they can find you, sir.
Double blessings to Jay Ellis for being such a great leader, always being open to feedback, suggestions. A few of us thought we should possibly be able to stream on Twitter and look at the results. Over 340 of y'all rocking with us on Twitter right now, adding to the growing cachet on YouTube. But it's always a blessing to work for someone, under someone, and being led by someone who's open to suggestions and feedback. And Jay is one of the best. Makes me want to be a better person and better collaborator. So shout out you, brother.
Appreciate that.
For upgrading the platform. And don't follow me. Go follow Phil. Phil Porto is my main man. That's my primo. Go follow him at Phil _ caps. And also subscribe to the Knick Time Show and the Knicks Nightcap on YouTube.
I took 8 years of Spanish, so primo, I believe, means cousin.
That's my cousin, man.
Muy bueno. All right. All right. Last but not least, shots. Where are you from, Ryan G? Let them know where you go.
You can find me on Twitter at RyanGKOT. You can also find me on Instagram at Sir G is chilling.
Sir G is chilling.
That's SIR. G is CHILLIN. And I want to just end by saying this. Big up Jay Ellis. Big up Fritz. Big up Lee. Big up Ebony. Big up Phil. And big up B. We are all stars on this roster. All Hall of Fame talent. Ain't no bench players. Let's go.
Oh, wait. I don't even know what the gunshots are.
Bullets.
You heard him?
The new. It's gonna get automatic, damn it. I'm still learning.
I know Lillard with no gun got the sword.
There you go.
There's a gun.
There you go. Whew, that took me a minute. I found it though. All right. All right, yo. You can find us at the KOT Show on Twitter, the Knick Time Show on Instagram, Knick Time Show on Facebook as well. You can also find us on TikTok. I'm still working out the TikTok thing to get this thing on TikTok, but as I fiddle, it'll go on TikTok as well. Also, shout out to my aunt. Hold on, history lesson. I come from a family of artists. My aunt Candy. Shout out to my aunt Candy. All right, she made this poster, "Lock into Your Heritage." This poster was featured. It was not featured. It was in the background of the set of Living Single in the Cosby Show back in the day. And that's why I'm rocking this shirt representing my aunt today. Shout out to my aunt Candy. Black history right there. All right, cool. That is the show. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you guys for watching. And as always,
shout out the World Wide West. Everywhere we go, we leave a worldwide mess.
It's a mess out here in these Knick streets. That's the show. We out of here. Peace.